It is Sunday the 9th of April, and we're here in my house doing another episode of The Buzz. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Joe.
And welcome. So, as we know about Russia with their homophobia, they have been in the news for trying to stop extremist acts online of memes of Vladimir Putin in clown makeup. They basically labeled that as extremists and have been trying to crack down on that on the internet. As you probably don't know this, but in
Russia?
In Russia, they have cracked down on internet. So as you can see in the UK and in America, there's a lot more freedom without being tracked, without being anonymous, being able to say what you like. On the internet, over there, they've already passed laws limiting what you can say, what you can do. So anyone seen with those kind of images, anyone talking critically about the government or on politicians or anyone like that, you would be found and probably put in jail.
And in fact, Russia passed its first internet extremism law back in 2013, a year after Putin returned to presidency. So what that means is people could get imprisoned for liking forbidden posts.
So in 2015, Russian authorities then started to crack down on any websites that were critiquing Vladimir. So in 2015, Russian authorities started to crack down on any websites that talked critically about Putin. And in doing so, they also passed a law in which public figures could file complaints or even sue some of the people who would talk about them behind their backs or on the internet.
Could you imagine if you could do that here?
Could just sue and complain.
But no, I guess it's kind of like suing for defamation of character-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's one talking critically and one slaggering off. There is a difference. When people are trying to like make it so no one can talk about you, that's when you know they're trying to hide something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's always a detailed side when someone tries to stop you from something or tries to stop a spreading of something. That means that there's already a weakness there. In this case, Russia trying to put down any opposition or trying to put down anyone who were to talk badly about it. It does show something about the government being a bit shady or even not confident in themselves. Last year, after all this had happened, a single mother was sentenced to community service for just reposting a cartoon of Putin looking at a map with a knife in hand. And a former naval captain or naval officer, he also got a 2-year suspended sentence and 1 year of probation for inciting hatred and animosity for just posting a report or anti-war. So at this point, it's like taking it literally too far. Memes, people would post memes of Vladimir Putin in these clowns or drag queen makeup or with love hearts around, or him loving or kissing some other influential figure, and they're just all of a sudden, okay, that terrorists,
jail,
they
prison,
are on
community service for you, death to you.
It's like, oh, they're on the same level as like hate speeches, like the same level as people you'd see on the streets talking about how every other religion is bad or anything like that. They're trying to say they're on the same level. It's just like, what the hell? So at this point, what can you do though? I mean, what can you do, Joe? If you see this, what can you do?
Post memes using a VPN?
Well, one thing that the people or citizens of Russia are doing are, well, if you're trying to hide something, if you're trying to remove people, and you're trying to sentence people for doing something that isn't actually wrong, it just gets spread more. So the Russian government has been actively trying to, move these kind of pictures and being actively trying to like stop this kind of propaganda But obviously, when you try and stop something on the internet, it becomes more readily available. And by doing so, they're just spreading more of the words, trying to spread more about the regime, or what kind of regime it has, how these kind of laws are just wrong. So in countries like the United Kingdom and America, a lot of it is democracy, passing bills and talking about it before we can pass a bill. So if all of a sudden we don't like something, we put a vote up, we put something up, and we stop it.
Democracy.
But in this case, it's a communist society, so I don't know really how it literally works, but I'm guessing they're trying to discuss, they make decisions on the betterment of a society of some sorts.
Sounds kind of like what was that protest that happened in China, I think in the 80s or something?
Oh,
remember
yeah.
when the guy with the shopping bags was standing in front of the tank?
Yeah.
They tried erasing that from history, didn't they? Yeah.
So one prolific event in Chinese history was I don't remember the actual name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But if you do your research on it, you gain a bit of insight where the government kind of mowed down and took down people who were against against the state, really. Or no, talking about against, it's like against. It was just like, oh, we don't like it, or being at public protests or anything like that. They come in through tanks and through other really messed up ways, and it involved quite a lot of deaths. And one of the most prolific images around on the net was a person with a shopping bag in front of these tanks. We don't know what happened to that person. Some say he was run over, some say he was pulled away. We don't know.
They never identified the person in the end.
No,
they don't. To this day, no one knows who he is.
No one knows, I think. Yeah, so that's really weird. Obviously, if something happens in United Kingdom or in America, if someone gets hurt, something like that, you identify the victims. But in this case, in China, they went about their way to make sure the photographers or any news articles during that time were destroyed. So there's very few photographers or any articles about this, so you can't even find it really well in China because censorship in China. But it is a what would you call it? A symbol of what has happened.
Censorship.
Yeah, a symbol of censorship, and it's not good. So this is kind of an example. They're trying to stop everything by putting people in jail, by threatening people, by passing these laws that kind of infringe on human rights, in which you should have the right to express yourself. You should have the right to be able to say whatever you want without any cause. I mean, if you think the world's flat, then sure, think if the world's flat.
Do you?
Believe what you want. It's just
Do you?
only when you start inciting violence by fighting people or
Yeah.
making people believe in that is when you are in the wrong. In this case, these people just talk about it and they're already inside jail. That's just doesn't make sense.
I think that covers everything.
Yeah, cool. Let's go on to the next one.
Cool.